Shalom, shalom. We're picking up with part 5 on the Shaull's understanding of the PaRDeS. Part 5 now. Okay, we'll go back to 2 Corinthians. We're just running our series here. 2 Corinthians chapter 3. There's some neat stuff here. We'll pick up at 13 again. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, 13. Having then such expectation, we use much boldness of speech. Not like Moshe, who had to put a veil over his face, so that the children of Israel should not look steadily at the end of that was passing away. Now pay attention to the veil. There's even a very subtle, sewed picture of the veil, that sukkah. I'm pointing that way, my sukkah's out that way. That sukkah is like we're entering within the veil. And I still use, I'm knocking. If you hear me knocking, open up to me and I will sup with you and you with me. It's even that knocking at the door, and I am the door of the sheep. The sukkah could even have a multiple meaning of that. Because the temple is now his body, and in Revelation the sukkah is him personified. You see the layers in this? I wouldn't be surprised if these 3 chapters here were written right around the time of the dwelling in booths of the feast. I wouldn't be surprised. He themes everything. Again, the veil gets taken away. There's a veil over the face, and when you receive the Mashiach in the sukkah, the veil gets taken away. But their minds were hardened. For to this day, the old covenant remains veiled when it's read. It's not lifted, because only in the Mashiach it is lifted. But to this day, when Moshe is being read, the veil lies on their heart. Now when one turns to the Master, now listen to this, the veil gets taken away. Obedient, turning to the Master is that narrow road. Of all the appointments, they all add up. Okay? Now Yahuwah is the RuWaCh. And where the RuWaCh of Yahuwah is, there is liberty. But we, with this unveiled face, we see as in a mirror. Now again, that is the brass laver where they wash. The 7 pieces of furniture are the 7 RuWaChs as far as their dispensations or their acts of what they do. Okay? The first RuWaCh is, of course, the bronze altar, to where you roast yourself and you get the old man out of the way. Your insides are all washed and burnt. Your head's cut off and burnt. In the allegories of getting rid of the self and washing away the old man from the inside out. The second RuWaCh is the brass laver. Back then, that was a mirror. They knew how to polish brass to make it almost look like a mirror. That is the mirror. It's not glass. We've got to get rid of our Western culture here. That's the mirror. On that laver, I'm believing was both outside and inside, but especially on the inside when that water was in it. Yahushua's word is water, and you look through the water into that mirrored, polished, so brightly brass, you saw yourself through his face. All through the scripture, Yahuwah's word when he speaks is as if water, flowing, storming water. Okay? So the laver is the washed piece of brass. You go and look at it in the mirrors. And even the women who stood at the door back in those days, they carried brass mirrors so we can look at it. It's the analogy of that. When you entered the Hekel, you had to look into the mirror and see if you saw Yahuwah in there. And that's what that sukkah is all about. We are entering into his essence for a completion cycle. Again, there's multiple meanings. I'm not going to fight with anybody as far as the different aspects of how to imply the meanings. It's a non-issue. Everyone is good. I can't really find one I can fault. But see, if you know me, you study under me long enough, I don't follow Judaism. I don't touch Judaism. I don't read it unless a brother or sister comes to me in anguish over something, and I'll study it out real quick to give them some help. But that's about the only way I'll study Judaism. I committed to the Father long ago just to listen to the RuWaCh and learn how to interpret the 66, the Bible as they call it, the Catholic Bible, as the mockers teach it, and have him draw me out of that. Okay? Notice he's going to teach me it himself. And that's basically what you're hearing. I'm trying not to keep all man's interpretation out of it. Okay, this is good. That's that mirror of the laver. On the outside, I think you can walk up to it and see yourself, and on the inside, the water of life, the water of the Word. You look through it, and it even has more of a brightened image, okay? But once one, this is verse 16 of 2 Corinthians 3, once one turns to the Master, the veil gets taken away. And now, Yahuwah is the RuWaCh, and where the RuWaCh of Yahuwah is, there is liberty. Again, that's not liberty or license to sin. You know what this liberty or freedom means in Shaull's mind? If he was right here telling you how he wrote this, he said, when you will keep the Torah, there's your liberty. The freedom is in the Tanakh. And applying all that you can. I apply the culture of the Tanakh. That's why I deal with such persecution. You know, I keep the clean laws, which is strange to people. I mean, not just the eating clean laws, but the seating and touching and mensing clean laws, having to deal with everyone else. It's a community. Okay, we're all, he's going to keep the temple furniture in mind. And we all, with this unveiled face, we see as in the brass laver, the esteem of Yahuwah, and we are being transformed into the same likeness. This is what he's given. This is what the Sukkah time is all about. Atonement washes it. He cleanses our altar, every aspect, the temple, the altar, the vessels for service, the priesthood. Remember, there's a cleansing of the priesthood too with the touching of the blood. All the altars, everything is cleansed, okay? Even the altar of incense, and is it put on the altar of incense too during atonement? If I'm not mistaken. And I won't go into all the analogies of what all the furniture represents. But it's basically the 7 RuWaChs of Yahuwah in Yeshayahu 11:2 are the 7 pieces of furniture. And then again, what I teach, if you study under me long enough, it's the 7-day week. That's why I can't be stolen away to a moon Sabbath. Because each day he testifies his type of anointing. Okay? Notice every day has he's working with me in a different aspect every day of the week, and then it pops back to the original day and starts all over again. There's no skip days with the moon. You don't make the new moon a separate time. See, the cycle of 7 is continuous. The creation week is a continuous creation week that's never stopped. The moon was, I always teach it like the moon, how to say this. People who keep the moon Sabbath, remember, the week was the vessel or the womb to create the moon and all the planets that do these appointed times. So what you're telling me, that the newborn baby has to shove mama into its womb and give birth to its own mama? See how perverse that is? That's like mocking your parent and cursing the law. So the moon Sabbath is so disgusting to me. I mean, I can't even, I'm just shocked how people can even believe it. All you need is Bereshit 1 and 2, and it's over. There's no argument, but they go through all the scriptures and pick it apart, trying to force feed everyone into the little details that don't even match up. But we're getting off topic. So, the brass laver, we are every year entering into a higher level of esteem. We're washed in atonement. We are married. He comes, the bridegroom comes at the Yom Teruah, the 10 days in between, 9 days in between, the 7-day marriage consummation. We are cleansed and picked up and cleaned. He's pleased with us. He's pleased with because in the Torah, a woman could be put away if she's found something impure in her. He did not find anything impure in our bodies when he made love to us, so he kept us and atoned for us at atonement. And then the time of the Sukkah is the complete cycle of him. Here's the rules of my house, my bride. Women don't rule men. Men rule women. I rule you. This is what I expect of you. And that's what this verse is pointing to in the Sukkah. And again, it's going to pick up more. 4 and 5, especially chapter 5, it's almost directly speaking it in a shaded way. You see, it's sort of shaded, but it's there. Now listen, we'll pick up the last verse of 2 Corinthians chapter 3. See, once you can understand the PaRDeS in Shaull's writing, all of his precious books are going to come to life. And all of a sudden, he's going to take you right back to the Tanakh. You're going to start picking up the word codes and the symbolism that's all written through the Tanakh. This Shaull guy knew the Tanakh backwards and forwards. Some say it's the whole Tanakh, others say he had to memorize it by the age 20, the entire Torah backwards and forwards. In other words, his teacher said, okay, do Deuteronomy or Devarim 7:2 backwards. Speak it backwards. and he better know it or he wouldn't pass. That's how Shauwl was. He was a zealot. Okay? Here's Sukkah time. Now listen to this, family. And we all, with this unveiled face, we're in the Sukkah now. Okay? With an unveiled face, we see as in a mirror, going through that laver, looking at the brass, or the mirror at the dwelling place, the women who hold the mirrors that we look at. We're supposed to see Yahusha in ourselves when we look in that mirror. No longer ourselves. We're supposed to be dead. See the symbolism going on? Okay, now we see as in a mirror the esteem of Yahuwah. We're looking in the mirror. Our face is in there. We're seeing Him in our face. Think about it. We're being transformed into a same likeness from esteem to esteem. Again, annually in the Sukkah every year. Because He didn't cast off. He didn't find some uncleanness. He didn't spawn us, like the Devarim 24, if a woman is found, something as simple as somebody comes up, well, she was a prostitute for a while, or she was a stripper, she was into public nudity, then he would ask the girl and have two witnesses on it and write her a writ of divorce if she was a woman of that character who deceived him. That's a way to legally put away your bride at the wedding. See, I'm a teacher that Deuteronomy 24, Devarim 24 is for wedding time or up to a year, because you're supposed to make your wife happy for a year. So there's up to a year of a time that you can divorce a wife under those precepts. But once the year be gone, you're stuck with her. So I'm not one of these people who thinks divorce can be for anything. Again, I'm getting off course. So as in a mirror, we're seeing the esteem of Yahuwah, being transformed into His same likeness from esteem to esteem. This is from Yahuwah, and this is His RuWaCh. Therefore, having this service, even as this is 4 verse 1, even with received compassion, we do not lose heart. Again, now he's going through the process of how it's done. Shaull's writings are really neat. He layers something out to you. He takes you very deep into something and then backs up and tells you how to do it. His writings are very neat. But we have renounced the secret ways of shame, not walking in craftiness or falsifying the word of Elohim, but by the manifestation of the truth, recommending ourselves to every human conscience in the sight of Elohim. And indeed, if our good news or our Besorah has been veiled, pay attention, it's been veiled to those who are perishing. I'm not going to follow this. Let me see. Yeah, this gets even better as far as the time of the Sukkah. Again, there's hinting. Chapter 5 is going to fill in the voids, okay? Jump down. We're not talking about Satan right now. Verse 5. Chapter 4, 2 Corinthians, verse 5. For we do not proclaim ourselves, but Hamashiach Yahusha the Master, and ourselves as servants for the masters. Now this gets good. Love it, love it, love it. For Elohim, He said, let light shine out of darkness. Sorry, dawn Sabbathers. For the one who has shown in our hearts for the enlightening of the knowledge of the esteem of Elohim in the face of Yahusha. Don't read this lightly. Read it again. Let light shine out of darkness is the same one who has shown in our hearts for what? For the enlightening of the knowledge of the upcoming or the regeneration or the increased sanctification process that every cycle of years takes place, that we're being enlightened with more light of the knowledge of the esteem of Elohim. Where? In the face of Yahushua Mashiach, which we are that face looking into that mirror. This is what the Sukkah is all about. It's a oneness. We're married at Teruah. We are going through our 7 days wedding, consummation through the 10 days, so that way the consummation time does not interfere. You can have a wonderful wedding time and not interfere with the high days, you see. And an atonement kicks him. He's pleased. He didn't find any uncleanness in it. He doesn't want to divorce us. So he atones for he makes the payment of his blood for every aspect of our essence. We are altars. We are priests. We are the temple. We are the altar of incense. If we don't pray, we're dead in our sins. The altar of incense always represents prayer, and the intimacy that same altar of incense makes the incense that sits on when the priest comes in at atonement to smoke the mercy seat. Isn't that wonderful? I just love that. And the coals of the fire are taken from the bronze altar. To me, this is so exciting. I know, I'm one of these people, I jump off course. Bear with me. I get so excited, I just roll with things. Okay, verse 6.